Picture this. You're on a construction site. You're planning a concrete arc or ramp. The curve you're designing isn't random, it's a parabola. The math that describes it, that's a quadratic equation. Learning to solve quadratics isn't about memorizing formulas. It's about finding the exact points where that structure meets the ground, so the build is safe and precise. A quadratic equation looks like this. Ax to the second, or squared, plus bx plus c equals 0. That little 2 tells us we're dealing with a curve, a parabola. But here's the key. What are we solving for? We're trying to find the x values when y is 0. That's why we always set the equation equal to 0 and then solve for x, because those are the points where the curve crosses the x-axis. On the job site, that means the points where a ramp begins and ends, or where a beam touches the ground being your x-axis. That's our goal. Set y to 0 and solve for x. There are three main methods for solving quadratics: factoring, completing the square, and the quadratic formula. Now, why do we need three? Because not every problem plays nice. Factoring is fast, but it only works when the numbers cooperate. Completing the square always works, but takes more steps. The quadratic formula is your power tool. It works every time. No matter which method we use, the goal is the same. Find the x values when y is 0. Let's start factoring. Here's your first example. X squared plus 5x plus 6 equals 0. It's in a nice format. It's a quadratic format. If it's not, if that like 6 was on the other side of the equal sign, then you need to use your algebra to manipulate it. So you need your quadratic equation set up like this. But this equation is already equal to 0, so we can factor. What two numbers multiply to give you 6, but yet add to give you 5? That's 2 and 3. So the equation factors as x plus 2 times x plus 3 equals 0. That gives you x is -2 and x is -3. Both are mathematically correct. On a job site, if this curve represents where a walkway touches the ground, these are the 2 points where it hits ground level. Factoring is like a hammer, quick and simple, but only works when the numbers fall into place neatly. Let's solve this quadratic using completing the square method. Step 1. Start with the equation. X to the second plus 6x minus 7 equals 0. Our goal is to find the x values when y equals 0, the points where the parabola hits the x-axis. Step 2. Move the constant to the other side. That gives us x to the second plus 6x equals 7. Step 3. Now we complete the square. To do this, take half the coefficient of x. Half of 6 is 3. And square it. 3 squared equals 9. Step 4. Add 9 to both sides to keep the equation balanced. Remember, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. X to the second plus 6x plus 9 equals 16. Step 5. The left side is now a perfect square trinomial that factors as x plus 3 squared equals 16. Step 6. Take the square root of both sides. X plus 3 equals plus or minus 4. Step 7. solve for x. X equals -3 plus 4 equals 1, or x equals -3 minus 4 equals -7. So the solutions are x equals 1 and x equals -7. That means our parabola crosses the ground at these 2 points. Completing the square worked because it transformed the equation into something we could solve with square roots. Finally, the quadratic formula, the power tool of quadratics. The formula is x equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, meaning divided by 2a. So here's your example. 2x squared minus 4x minus 6 equals 0. We've got it in a great format. Line up your a, b, and c to your formula. A is your 2, your number by your variable that's squared. B is -4. Don't forget your signs. That's your number that is next to the single variable. And C is the lone number. And here, in this case, it's -6. Plug it in. So we have -b, which would be a negative of a -4, plus or minus, square root. Now here we go, be careful. B squared, so b is -4, -4 squared, minus 4a times c. And divide all of that over 2 times 2. So 4 plus or minus the square root of, so a -4 squared is 16, plus -4 times 2 times -6, all comes down to 48, divided by 2 times 2, which is 4. We now have 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 and 48 is 64, divided by 4. So now we have to put 4 plus or minus the square root of 64, which is 8, divided by 4. That gives us 2 answers, and that's fine. This is what we're looking for. X is 3, so 4 plus 8 divided by 4. And then 4 minus 8 divided by 4. So that would be -1. So our 2 answers are x is 3 and x is -1. So here's the big picture. Factoring is quick but limited. Completing the square always works but takes longer. The quadratic formula never fails. And remember, the reason we set equations equal to 0 is to find the x values when y equals 0, where the curve crosses the axis. One last tip. If the number in front of the x squared is positive, the parabola opens upward. If it's negative, the parabola opens downward. Recognizing this quickly can help you eliminate wrong answers on multiple choice tests.